we're back. We were gonna go serious, but then I heard fucking Peacock had Cocaine Bear, and it had to be done. It fucking had to be done. I was so excited for this movie when I first saw the trailer. I'm a real whore for a comedy whore, you know? Nothing gets me wetter.
I don't even think this counts as horror. To me, it's not horror. To me,
no,
it's just
I will
stupid.
say, yeah, this is where this movie is fun. I'll give it the fun meter. It's not as funny as I thought it would be. A little disappointed on that aspect. It had its moment. The kids were super cute, but I thought I'd be like dying laughing, and I wasn't. So
I didn't think that I was gonna laugh at all. I thought that I was gonna sit through the entire thing and be like, "This is the dumbest shit that I've ever watched." So I think it's funnier than I expected.
See, I think because your expectations were below a bar, you were like, "Oh, I got a little chuckle." Mine were up here, so I was like, "Wow, it's okay."
Yeah, B asked me what I give it, and I was like, like a 7.5 out of 10. Like, it's a good time. Like,
yeah, I give it like that, like a 6 or 7. It is a fun watch. I will say, when I first saw the CGI on the bear, though, I was like, "Come on, guys, we had a bigger budget than that. I know we did."
They don't want to pay the people.
That is straight out of the 80s, which this movie is set 1985, and you can tell by the clothes. It's very 80s. It really harps on that. Like,
yeah, so it's not like it's very 80s, but it's not like ridiculously 80s.
No.
Like, it looks like shit you would buy at Sears.
Yeah. I'd say the only thing that really makes you go, "Oh, that's the 80s," is the mom's tracksuit she's wearing like the whole time.
Oh my god, I love that.
That's about as 80s as you can fucking get. The bright purple windbreaker.
Listen, B bought it's a combination sewing machine and embroidery machine because he wanted to do embroidery, and he wanted one that was going to work really well. So I convinced him to get a combo, and all I've been looking lately is for like, because I know how to sew, and so I was like, all I've been looking for is fucking patterns and like fabric and stuff for when I have a little bit extra. I'm gonna make me one of those fucking tracksuits. Like, I so bad.
You gotta make it homemade. So, but no, who wears that same exact tracksuit is the chick from the Ninja Turtles. Her yellow suit. It's the exact same thing, just a different color.
It's the same.
It's that exact outfit
with the stretchy cinched in waist. And then the stretchy, like the cuffs on the bottom that are all stretchy. And then like, I want it so bad, and I want a crazy fabric. I'm gonna do it eventually.
Do it. That suit is classic. So we come into this movie. It comes in hot on this movie.
Immediate. It's immediate.
It's immediate. And what I love about, because now I'm even starting to forget, I need to bring up my notes. Which you guys will be so proud of me today. There will be no, I can't read what I wrote, because I actually pulled out my technology this time, so I can read what I typed. Let's pull it up here. All right. So I did say, okay, so it comes in, like I said, it comes in hot with the 80s and the 80s music playing. And I think Thor Love and Thunder has ruined me for that, because the moment I hear a good 80s like rock ballad happening, I'm like, oh, this movie's about to be fucking fire. Okay. So we first come into the movie on just a couple in the woods, and they're like Swedish. And what I was very excited about, he is the actor from Game of Thrones. He's one of the wildlings. One of the main ones.
You're right.
I know.
I knew I recognized him somewhere, and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
You're totally right.
So you see them, they're so in love. They're talking about babies. They're gonna name it Texas.
They're engaged, right?
Yeah.
They're like talking about a wedding that they're
So
his brother's gonna play in the band.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the brother wants.
She doesn't want it.
She's like, he can't sing. He's like, how fucking dare you? How dare you? So as they're probably, they get to the top, and she's like, okay with the fighting, but he looks over and you see the bear, and they get their camera out. They're like, oh my god, it's a bear. And then, but then the bear sees, and this is the first time we get to see the amazing CGI that you are like, this is Wow. It's bad. I think TikTok filters could have done a better job on that bear than what they did. It
Like,
was pretty bad.
listen, pay your fucking people.
Honestly.
Pay your people. Pay your
Honestly.
CGI people. Like, they make the movie.
It
Pay
made
your
me want to be
writers.
like, did we do this on purpose? Like, were you trying to go for the feel of FCGI existed in 85? This is what it would look like? Like, is that what
No,
trying to go for?
I think what happened was they were like, oh, this movie doesn't fucking matter. It's not going to win any awards. It's not going to be like anybody's favorite movie. So, like,
Just fucking
mid-tier.
dial it in. I swear, I want to
Mid.
say it's almost worse than mid-tier. I really feel like Netflix be pulling off better CGI than this. Like, cable
Depending
TV
on-
Supernatural could have been like
Depending on who's in charge.
Yeah,
later seasons of Supernatural had better CGI than this fucking bear.
for sure.
Which is funny because that is exactly
It's what I'm watching right now. As soon as this is over, me and Supernatural and Fallout will be playing again.
I can't get through.
And I love that shirt, and I need you to get that for me because that's amazing.
I have had this for years. Like, I'm
the
talking
mashup that's happening there.
I know, isn't it so good?
That's peak right there.
I don't know where I got this, and I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna lie. I have attempted to rewatch Supernatural probably about 10 times. It is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. But I get to season 7 and it's such a slog. It is such a slog. And I'm just like, I can't do it.
Look, I can't even lie to you. This rewatch, I've rewatched the season so many times now that my OCD is a bit looser with it, and I now officially do skip straight to season 4. I kind of skip over 1, 2, and 3.
You don't like 1, 2, and 3?
They're real slow for me. Fucking Yellow Eyes. I'm like, I don't care.
But the Monster of the Week. Oh, such classics.
It was bad. I love the Monster of the Week, but I love Castiel so much more.
Yeah, like, Castiel.
His episodes, the comedy that happens after season 4, all the fillers are fucking golden. Like,
Misha Collins is
he's
a gem. He's an absolute gem.
Amazing.
Like, I love him.
We've really gone off the tracks here, so let's get. We haven't even gotten to like the start of the movie.
God damn it!
It's gonna be a long one, guys. Okay, so they're in the woods. They see the bear sees them, and at first they're like, the guy is like, his name's Olaf. He's like, something's wrong with that bear. She's like, there's nothing wrong with the bear. You're stupid. Yeah. And then she's like, you're just being scared. He's like, I'm not scared. But then the bear starts beelining it for them. And at first they like do the poem. She's like, what do we do? What do we do? And he's like, if it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. That poem. And he's like, so it's black. She's like, I don't know, it's brown. And he just runs. He just leaves her. He just fucking runs.
Well, she takes off first, and then he's like, oh, all right, I guess this is, because he starts yelling at her, don't run. And I'm yelling at the TV, don't fucking run. I'm from Appalachia.
In this bear case,
listen to me.
Look, if it's on coke,
they don't know the bear's coked up. They think it's just a normal bear. If you're encountering just a normal black bear in the wild, any wild animal in the wild, don't fucking run. Especially a black bear, because black bears are pussies, okay? And they're lazy, and their like prey instinct only kicks in if you're actively running away from them. So just start yelling, just start screaming, and they'll be like, oh, never mind.
Have you seen the new video going around where a guy's just like laying on his porch and the person's filming, and then here comes a bear walking up, and they like don't notice each other at first, and then all of a sudden they look over and they're both like, wow! And even the bear's like, oh shit, and like runs away.
That's how like, black bears are. That's how black bears are. They're like, oh, fuck with you. Like, if you're not an easy target and they're not exceptionally hungry, they're not gonna fuck with you. They're like,
I'm not gonna lie, man. When we were visiting Gatlinburg, Tennessee, we had a shit ton of black bears just walking around.
Oh yeah, well they're used to it. They're used to, like,
so
just don't leave your trash out.
I was out when the bear came, and I was like, okay, don't mess with me, Mr. Bear. Get away from my truck. And they scurried away.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, you're sweating when that shit's happening.
Yeah, it's not a fun experience.
I could totally lose this fight. I'm gonna need you to like actually run. Like
Right. Yeah, no, as long as there's no cubs around, like with
Oh
a
yeah.
black bear, you now a brown bear, yeah, you need to
No,
just
brown bear,
lay
you just
down
die.
and pretend to be dead.
And hope he
But
doesn't hit you too hard. Like,
I hope he's like hope like you're this is the thing. Black bears are lazy. They don't want to fight at all. They don't want to have to argue with you. They don't want to fight for their dinner. A brown bear wants to have fun. So if you're
Yeah.
not going to put up a fight with a brown bear, he's going to be like no, it's not even worth it. It's like a vampire. It's like I'm rewatching Buffy. It's like Spike. He's like it takes the fun out of it. I'm not going to do it now. Now I'm going to leave you alone. Anyway, so yeah, they
Yeah.
start running like fucking idiots.
Oh yeah. Bear chases. You think they got away for a little bit because they end up like stopping and falling over and stuff, and she's standing up and he's falling over, and you think, oh, it's gonna be him. But no, bear comes flying out, gets her, she's screaming, leg come flying out.
Yeah.
And I will say, I love a good practical effect, but I don't feel like that one was great. Like,
The only thing I could think in my head, and this is so bad, but the only thing I could think in my head when that leg landed was like, grab it, and use it.
just beat him with the leg. So he goes running, and then that's when like scene cocaine bear
Yeah.
hits, and you're like starting. Then it goes straight into another fucking crazy ass scene. Dude's in a plane, fucking coked out of his mind, just dancing, just ha just
This is a
shoving
small
coke
plane.
out the door. Like,
It's a small plane. There's no seats. It's a
Yeah.
carrier plane.
It's
It's
just-
literally only used for cocaine.
Yeah,
He's got
and
the
just
door
tons
open
of
and
coke
he's just
everywhere, and he's chucking it, and he's snorting it, and he's dancing, and it's the most coked out thing you could ever see. And then he throws his last thing, and he's getting his parachute going, and then he bonks his head, and he falls out of the plane.
don't use your own supply.
No.
Fucking idiot.
So he dies. You find well, next, do we see him
think
on the ground next and meet the cops, or do we meet the mom and daughter first? I don't really remember.
It cuts so quickly to each.
It
like,
does. I
and
want
then
to say
if-
mom and daughter pop in real quick here, where you
I
get
think
first
so.
introduced. You have a single mom.
Yeah.
She's a nurse. She
Yep.
wants to introduce daughter to boyfriend. Daughter's kind of like, fuck your boyfriend. I don't care. And
Yeah,
then it goes to, because I want to say she turned on the news or walked out the door or something, and then it turned into dead parachute guy, cops, and the cop and coke all over a dead parachute guy because he. So the cops are like, we know exactly who this is. He's definitely a smuggler. There's probably a shit ton of coke in those woods. We got to go fucking find it. But they also introduced with the cop a really weird relationship side quest he's having.
about a
Where-
dog.
Because he asked his partner, you got a dog? And she's like, yeah. He's like, does he play fetch? And she's like, yeah, he plays fetch. And then he's like, looks up, and he has this little like Bichon. And he's just like, you can just tell that somewhere he's lost the joy of having a dog because his dog is not a dog. It doesn't want to play fetch. Like, so
Yeah,
he's trying to replace his dog, and like you see him on the phone with the animal shelter. And for me personally, as an animal person, I was kind of like, well, what made you fucking choose that dog? If in your head you were thinking, I'm gonna get the lab experience, what
Well,
the
that's-
fuck would you pick the Bichon for? Like,
that's so people are so
or the Shih
stupid. They
Tzu.
think they don't
Whatever this thing is.
understand. They don't
Yeah, it's
understand that
like-
different breeds of dogs have different personalities and different things that they do. It's like those people that'll get like a husky or a working dog of any kind and then not give them a job.
yeah,
And then your dog is just and then they're like, oh, they're so hyperactive because they don't have a job. Because
Oh,
they don't have anything to do all day. You can't don't
you
expect
know-
them.
do you know there's a new belief system that I've been seeing going around of, oh, you train your dog in any way? Fucking abuser. Let them have their free will, you abuser. Yeah. People are saying this shit.
Okay,
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I used to have an English Bull Terrier, the triangle dogs, for people that don't know what the
Yeah.
fuck that is. If I would not have trained him, that would have been a nightmare.
Oh yeah.
A nightmare.
Yeah. Oh
Fuck
man.
out of here. And he was never
That
abused. He was the happiest fucking dog
it
on the
made me. I'm
planet.
like, you as a human
You were
get
so
trained.
stupid,
What are you
right?
talking about? What?
You get
What are
trained
you
as a
talking
child.
about?
That's why you're
Yeah,
able to socialize with other people and hold down a
exactly.
fucking
We
job. Get the
all have
fuck
to
out of here.
socialize in our packs or what? Like, come on.
That makes me like
You
itchy. That
sound
makes me like
ridiculous right
so,
now.
so
Like,
aggravating. So, that's like the people that are like, "Oh, don't ever use cages. Don't ever use a cage." Da, da, da. And I'm
yes.
like, don't lock them in there forever and ever, but they need a place. Anyway, we're getting
Right.
off the fucking track.
Sometimes I have to tell people, I'm like, okay, well, do you want your couch or not? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you like,
And they love it. Once you set up that area and they learn that
yeah,
that's like their
you do
area,
it right,
they'll
you're
go in there
doing
on
them
their
right.
own and they'll be like,
Yeah.
"All right, I'm tired of y'all. I
I'm
can't
out.
deal with
I'm
any
going
of
to my
y'all.
little cavey cave
I'm
over
going
here.
home."
Yeah.
And then you can't get them the fuck out.
Yeah. That's their cave.
Yeah.
Anyways, so now you know the cop. He's looking for the drug dealers, but he has his doggy side quest. Then you get introduced. It jumps to I feel really bad because I feel like he's probably gonna be like Ice Cube's son to me forever. I don't
I
really
can't.
like his name.
I know.
Like,
I know his name's like what, O'Shea. I think that's their name. He's like O'Shea
yeah,
Jr. But I can't. Every time I see him, I'm just like,
this is
yeah,
Ice
that's
Cube's kid.
just young Ice Cube.
Yeah, and it's really hard because he looks just like his dad.
So
But
much.
I will say he's done amazing in all of his movies, and I definitely
he's
get
done really good.
excited to see him in like previews and stuff. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he does really good.
Yeah. So when he walked in this movie, his name is like David, like
David. Yeah,
David. Yeah.
like the actor that was in Hamilton that played what's his face? You know what I'm talking about. His name's
Yeah.
David too. In real life, his name's David. Yeah.
Oh well, now I feel bad for shitting on the name. I
I
thought that was being
know.
funny.
He's such a good actor too. You're shitting on him. Jesus Christ.
It's a crap name. I'm not gonna lie.
Anyway, yeah, we cut to him, and he's walking into like a kid's play place.
Yes, and there's a
What
kid.
the fuck?
And this is where the late great Liotta is. This was Ray Liotta's last movie before he passed. So that was
What a
sad
legacy.
seeing him. I was
What
like,
is it?
"Dang."
Your last movie was fucking Cocaine Bear.
Right. But he did good in it. He delivered us our gangster that we love from him so much.
It was typical Ray Liotta.
Yeah,
Like,
he really brought it home there. So you find him. He's obviously the head of their local drug situation.
in the
He's
US,
like the
yeah.
guy below the cartel, like cartel, American Man, his tree
Right.
of people. Okay, so he's the higher up. And he's saying, dude, the plane went down. It's common. He's supposed to chuck it out the door. I'm sure he did. We gotta go look in Georgia to find the coke. We gotta get the fucking coke before the cops find it or anybody else. And he's like, so go grab my son and go get my coke. And he's like, but your son just lost his wife and he's really sad. And he's like, I don't care. Go get my fucking coke. And I'm tired of watching his fucking kid. So you get the dynamic that dad's apparently checked out. So now grandpa's having to watch grandson, and
it is not his
like
wave.
a major gangster. Like,
yeah, it's not his wave. Being the grandpa at home is not.
He's like, get your shit together, go get my fucking coke, and let's wrap this up. Okay. So then you see him, and he's hungry at the kid's place. David is, but so then he goes find Crybaby. This is what I'm gonna call him. I think his name was Eddie in the movie. I'm not sure though.
I don't remember anybody's name.
So I'm calling him Crybaby because he just cries the whole time. Like in the bar when he sees him, he's crying because his wife just died. It's understandable. I'm not saying he shouldn't be crying, but that was his main characteristic, is that the dude is literally crying in like every fucking scene.
But no, like you have to understand he's in a bar and he's got a drink and then he's got a bowl of some kind of penne pasta without anything. It's just like penne pasta and cheese. And he's just eating it and crying over his fucking bowl
Yeah. And he's like,
in a bar.
yeah. And David is like, so he's already expressed once that he's hungry, but he was told to get out and go get the other guy. So now he's at the bar and he's watching this dude cry into his pasta, and he's just like, can I get some panini? Hey, what's in that? And the guy's like, it's just plain. It's just plain.
He's like, is it
"Oh,
chicken?
okay."
And he's like, no, it's not. And he's like,
He's
and
just
O'Shea
like,
is
"Oh,
like,
okay."
what the fuck? He's just
He doesn't
plain
even seem
pasta.
affected like by his response at all. He's just like, no, it's cool. I'm gonna get my food though. It's cool.
Yeah,
So
and
then
then
you
we
jump
gotta
back.
go.
Now we jump back to
The kids.
the kids,
Mhm.
and they are skipping school, and this is where we meet the girl. So you've already met the daughter. You meet her little friend Henry, the fucking cutest kid. Other than
So
my
funny.
own crotch goblins, this kid is fucking adorable.
He
Like,
is so funny.
so his little country accent, and he's
Yeah,
just
they're
throwing
from
F-bombs
Georgia.
around. Like,
Yeah. And he like, so the daughter, they're both skipping school. And
yeah,
he comes to the house, and the daughter, she wanted to go and see the waterfall. She was supposed to go with her mom that weekend, but then her mom was like, "Oh, my boyfriend wants to take us to Nashville." And the daughter's like, "I want to see the fucking waterfall."
yeah.
And I don't know what it is about this waterfall. It's so
And she
fucking
wants to paint
special.
them. So she was
Yeah,
taking
she wants to
paint.
fucking tag the
Yeah.
waterfall,
And
which
what
don't do that.
I love how the little boy, they really played his character. He might be the best character of the whole movie,
Yeah.
but they played it to where he's talking that you're kind of like, oh, he's the dumb guy friend. He's clearly a dumb little boy, but then he would say things like, so you just want to avoid your mama because you're mad at her for her boy. How loud, much louder can you say you need attention? Like,
Yeah, like what the
like
fuck?
he's just dropping truth bombs on this girl, and she's just like, shut up, get in the
Yeah,
woods.
she like convinced him to skip school, and
Yeah.
then she wouldn't let him pee in the house, and she was like, "Just pee outside. We need to get to this fucking waterfall." And he was like, "Why did he even come here?"
Right? You're so mean to me. So then they're in the woods. So then you're automatically like, fuck, kids are gonna get eaten by Coke Bear. How dark is this movie getting?
I know, I was so
Right?
worried.
I'm like, fuck,
Damn it.
where's this going, Coke Bear? So then it jumps to forest officer, who was the lady from The Watcher. If you remember last week, she was crazy neighbor in The Watcher. Now, very
She's
horny
crazy
forest
forest
lady, just trying to get laid. She's trying hard. And this is also where you meet the skinny crackheads. He's stealing candy from her, but also being their conversation about her perfume. Like you see her perfume on, and then he's like stealing candy, and but he had showed where he was like only had one, so she was like 50 cents, and he's putting his dollar down and stuff. And whenever she looks away, he's like stealing more candy. And then he's like, "You smell nice," and she's like,
trying to distract her because he's
right.
stealing fucking candy.
But she was like, a girl can't put perfume on and stuff. And he's like, no, you can put perfume on. It smells nice. I like it. She's like, it doesn't smell too much. Like she starts to really, she's like, it's not too much. He's like, no, it smells expensive.
She's like, it was. It's European. And that's 100% how a country ass person from the middle of nowhere would act if they got their hands on something like that. They'd be telling
Yeah.
everybody, I didn't get this at the Walmarts.
Right.
100%.
So then, and she's telling the guy how like the forest inspector of some type is coming, and I'm going trying to get me some.
And she's smoking a cigarette in the cabin while she's telling him this.
And then the guy shows up, and she's like, hey. And he is from Modern Family, the brother, the redheaded brother.
Oh, okay.
Uncle number one, I guess.
Yep.
And it took me a while to realize it. When I first saw him, I was like, he looks really familiar, but his voice. And then my husband walked by and wasn't looking at the TV and was immediately like, oh, the guy from the middle's in the show. And I was like, oh, that's who it is. And then he looked, he was like, no, but you can tell. I was like, no, you just had the leg up because you heard the voice first. I was thrown off because he had like long, he's very, like, I want to say he's almost more what you would think of a 70s look of like shaggy hair, big mustache.
He looks like he belongs. He looks like he belongs outside.
Yeah.
He looks like he belongs
Oh yeah.
outside.
He's
Yes.
playing the part well. So
Yes.
you don't look at him and immediately recognize him. It
No.
takes you a second to be like, who is
Mhm.
that?
Yeah.
So he comes in, he's like, is someone smoking? And she's like, yeah, this guy, get on me,
Yeah. And then he
boy.
starts ranting
And
about
then
forest
the guy,
fires.
she's like, these kids these ages don't even know appreciate nothing.
And credit to the crackhead kid. He 100% was just like, yeah, all right, that's me.
Yeah.
He took the
He's
fall
like,
for it. He was like, I'll be your wingman.
right? He grabs some more candy real quick and then pops on out. Like, and then so as they're talking, the mom comes in and
Right.
she's like, have any kids come through here? I
Yeah,
want to
because she
say I'm
got a call from the
mistaken.
school. So I think she's a night nurse, and she
Yeah.
got home, and the kids should already been in school. Should have gone on her own, and she got a call from the school, and she was like, and she like called the kid's dad, and I think his like girlfriend or new wife picked up, and she was like, "Hey, is the kid over there?" And the lady was like, "No, I haven't seen her." And she was like, "All right, can you put Ted or whoever on the phone?" And she was like, "Well, he's taking a shit." And she was like, "How is he okay? Every time I call, he's in the fucking bathroom. Is something wrong with him?" And then she was like, she sees like a backpack outside that the kids had left, and she's like, "They're
Yeah.
going to the fucking waterfall." So that's why
Oh,
she gets
that's
on
the
a
scene we
bike.
forgot. It jumped to after you see her make, I want to say right before that, you see the kids again, and they're walking in the woods, and they find
A
a
brick of
Coke
cocaine.
brick.
Yep.
And so little Henry's like, oh, that's drugs. I do drugs all the time. I know what
Yeah,
drugs
these
are. And
13-year-old.
she's like, oh yeah, you do drugs? Do it now. And she scoops like a whole fucking little mountain on this knife,
Well,
right?
no, the funniest part about that whole thing is he says that he does drugs with some other kid after church in the church parking lot every day. He says, "Yeah, we do all kinds of drugs. I do cocaine. I do cocaine every Sunday after church." And
And I
she's
feel
like, "Get the fuck."
he's so cute. These kids are only, I want to say maybe age 8, 9 range, like
No, they look
maybe
about
10.
13. Kids
No,
Yeah,
they're 13.
some kids are like shorter. Some kids don't hit that growth spurt. They're
I don't
supposed
know
to be
about
like
13. I might give
13.
you an 11.
I mean, I see it every day because my kid is 10 and she's almost 5'5", or I'm
Yeah.
sorry, almost 5'3". So I see her compared to other kids that are 10. Those kids didn't look 10 to me. They definitely looked into like
I
12
want
to
to,
13
now we have
range.
to Google it. So she scoops out a mountain onto this knife. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh God, don't sniff that. Don't sniff that. Little
No, she
Henry's
does
about to
worse.
die.
She shoves it in her mouth.
No. Well, that's what I was. So at first I was like, God, don't sniff it. Don't sniff it. So she spoonfuls it, and I'm like, okay. I mean, it's gonna get on your gums, but like,
You get a little bit, but not
it's
as
a little safer to eat it than to straight sniff it. You don't absorb as much. And then little Henry does the same thing, and they're both like, bleh, bleh, like
like a
this is disgusting.
mountain. It
Yeah,
looks like it's powdered sugar. It's 100% powdered sugar. But
I'm
like
sure.
a
I'm sure.
mountain like this tall on this knife, and they just
Yeah,
shove it in
and
there.
they're just like, ow, bleh. But then unfortunately, Cocaine Bear shows up. And I want to say at first the bear doesn't see them. They were like hiding behind rocks or something, and
Yeah,
the bear's digging in the trash can because he's after the Coke.
right.
And this is where you find out she's a true Coke thing. Like
Yeah.
that's all she's looking for is the bricks. And then she does find them, but it cuts away. So then you're like, well, shit, what happened to the kids? And
Right.
that's when you see mom walk into the ranger station. She's like, you seen my daughter? And they're like, so the guy's like, no, let's help. And the girl is like, let's not. You go look, because she's trying to get laid. And they even throw in the pun. Like when he first met her, he's like, oh, this is a dusty beaver. She's like, I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, like they didn't when she shows up. He didn't even immediately say he was going to help her. The lady started bashing her and was like, "You don't know where your own kid is." And then she was like, "I think she came out here to the forest," and she was like, "Kids under 16 ain't allowed in the forest." Like, no shit, lady. I
all
didn't
right,
tell
the
her
kids
to.
are supposed to be 12. So
I was
fine,
right.
in the middle.
But she's like, kids aren't allowed in the forest by themselves under 16. And the mob is like, no shit. That's why I'm here asking. Have you
She's
seen
like,
this
yeah,
fucking kid?
they came without my permission, asshole.
Right.
Like,
All right, we
and then
got a
she's like, well,
minute.
runaways happen all the time, these delinquents. And she's like, she's not a delinquent. She just wants to see the falls. Like, could you just
Jesus
point me in the direction of the
Christ.
fucking falls? Like, so
All right, we probably need to cut.
we do. We're gonna have to take a break. We'll be right back with more cocaine.
They were heading out.
Okay, so we're back. We left off at the ranger station in a dusty beaver. So,
Christ.
so the ranger dude or inspector dude, whatever the fuck he's supposed to be, is like, no, we'll take you. We gotta walk the woods anyway, so we'll take you. And ranger lady's like, motherfucker. So
And they walk outside and he asks the mom, he's like, are those shoes going to be okay for hiking? And she's like, yeah, they'll be all right. And then the ranger lady yells up ahead of him and she's like, I'm wearing boots. He goes, yes, you are. Thank you. Thank you for your input.
yeah, you are. That's gonna be, I swear I need to do, that's gonna be at work now.
I'm
Whenever
wearing
somebody's
boots.
like, hey, I just did this, I'm like,
Yeah, you did.
You get them, girl. So, all right.
I think now it cuts back to O'Shea, right? Don't they? Yeah, because they're as they're walking out of the ranger station, you see O'Shea and Crybaby pull up in the truck to the ranger station.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. This is out their scene. So they come in. I don't remember what they were talking about. On the car though, Crybaby's been crying the whole time in the car. And they finally get this, and O'Shea is like, I'm gonna go into this bathroom. So just
Oh, they're playing 20
sit here.
questions. They're trying to play 20 questions, and O'Shea sucks at playing. He does not want to fucking play 20 questions with this crybaby guy who's just lost his wife and is having a total meltdown all the time.
He's already done with the situation. He's just like fucking done with all of this. So he goes into the bathroom, and skinny crackhead kid from earlier has two crackhead buddies. And they're in the bathroom, and they decide they're gonna get tough and like try to rob him. And he's like, you don't want to do this. You don't want none of this. And the guy pulls out a little butterfly knife. He's like, oh yeah, I do. And they proceed to get their asses handed to them. Like, just mollywop. The one guy does get on a stab, and because he's trying to hang onto his back, but he still gets flipped over. And then a little crybaby finally walks into the bathroom. He's like, what's taking so long? He's bleeding from his shoulder. You got these three dudes laying there, and he doesn't say like, oh my god, are you okay? He's like,
here we go again.
Even alive. Like, because I forgot to say, he had left the gang in the first place because he didn't agree with the lifestyle and the killing. And the dad figured since the wife's dead, the wife was the reason he quit. Wife's dead now, he'll come back. And so we forgot that part. But so yeah, so now all through this thing, he's completely judgy over the other guy. Like, he's just like, no, you're a bad person. You're not a good person. You're not my friend. And just crying the whole time about his wife.
Yeah,
so when he comes in, he's just like, are they even alive? And the guy's like, at least one of them. So then they have to go through and wake one up because he's like, they know where the coke is. So we gotta wake them up and interrogate them. And then he's like, they're interrogating him. But it was pretty funny back and forth of him being like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And he's like, we don't gotta do that.
We don't need to do that. It doesn't have to come to that at all. And then he finally tells them, like, yeah, the coke's in the gazebo. We were going to come back later tonight and pick it up. It's in the gazebo. And O'Shea's like, the gazebo? And he's like, yeah, it's like a You know, a gazebo. And he's like, I know what a fucking gazebo is.
Like, well, you seem confused. So they snatch him up and they're headed to a gazebo. Now we get another cutscene. And this is where I don't like movies that do this too much, because this is how it ends up. My brain is like, girl, I don't know which box you were watching at what time.
Yeah, it's too many. Like,
now we're back. We're back with the mom and the Rangers, and they have found where the kids were.
They found, they're following their tracks.
Yeah, and you don't see the kids at all, so you're kind of like, shit, what's happened? And then all of a sudden, like, they find some trash, and the one is like, damn kids and stuff. And then I want to say, did they find the coke? They didn't find the coke. The bear.
No, they haven't found the coke yet. No.
But Henry's up in a tree. He's like, hey.
He's yelling.
You better run.
He's high. He's high up in that tree too. And like,
up there.
The mom starts yelling at him to come down, and he's like, no. And then the inspector guy is like, you're too damn high. That is not safe. That is not okay. And he's like, there's a fucking bear.
Yeah, the whole time he's like, there's a bear. And they're just talking about how high he is. And he's like, there's a bear. I'm not coming down. Like, right. And then they finally start being like, a bear. And then she's like, where is she? And he's like, taken. And
the bear took her. Yeah, the bear took her. Like, what are you talking? Took her? What does that mean? A bear? Bears don't take captives.
Yeah, right.
There's no like, POW situation.
Why would the bear take a child? So then you hear rustling, and you're like, oh shit, bear's back. Like, yep. And first he grabs the officer
guy,
and you think, he grabbed the girl.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
And you're like, oh shit, she's dead. But she just gets a big old scratch in her ass. And he like, the bear moves on to another person, like running after the guy. The mom hid behind the tree. So like the bear doesn't see her at all. And then the guy ends up climbing up the tree. And he's like, ain't it great bears can't climb trees? And he's like, bears can climb trees. And he's like, well, then why are we up here?
But first, before he climbs the tree, he finds the cocaine. He finds a spattering of cocaine, and he's just
first
like,
he goes
what
army
the
man.
Fuck?
Yeah, first he goes army man. No, you were right. Okay, he got dragged first. And then, so the cops start shooting. And he's like army man crawling. And
then he pops up and he's like, why are you shooting at me?
Yeah,
and she's like,
he goes
get
face
the fuck
first
down.
into the coke. And then pops up, he's like, why are you shooting? And she's like, get down. So and then she gets snatched back. That's where her ass gets scratched. And he goes up into the tree. And then they have the tree conversation. And then the bear sees that, or that he's covered in coke. No, the bear sees the kid, goes to climb up the tree for the kid first. And they're like, Henry, go up. And then while the guy is yelling, the bear looks at him and sniffs and realizes he's covered in coke. So
and the guy starts.
So she immediately beelines it to him. And which she then proceeds to use him as a piñata. He like knocked backwards, and then she's like eating his leg and it's blood dripping down. And you see Henry in the background. And
then she's like, Henry, get the fuck down. Get out of the tree.
He's like, no, I can't jump. So
and the park ranger lady is like, I'm gonna go find help. She's the only one with the gun at all, and she's just like,
yeah, she just fucking bails. Which I'm not gonna lie, I don't fucking blame her. I'd probably bail too. What help am I truly? I might as well go try to get the cops or something. She has
the only gun. She has the only weapon.
I would.
All right, give me the gun, and I will fucking deal with this. I guess. Jesus Christ.
Look, man, in an emergency situation,
don't rely on you.
I'm not a hero.
Jesus. But yeah, so Henry gets down, and him and mom run off, and then there's this shot of the inspector's body just falling, and I have laughed so hard because it like falls on his neck, and it's just like his body just like
Yeah, just boom, and then his leg falls on him. And then, and then I want to say the bear jumped down and just walked away, but we got a close up of the terrible CGI. You get a lot of these, which I'm like, for such bad CGI, you guys are doing a lot of confident shots. And I don't understand why we're doing it. Usually when the CGI is this bad, that's the type of movies you get like the quick shots. You barely saw the bear before we panned out, you know? Not these guys. They're like, take it in, baby. Look at it in all its terrible
I will
glory.
give them props. The way that they had the lips moving, that is very bear-like. Like the way the bottom lip like hangs down and
It
it's like all
was.
purple. That's very
She
bear-like. But
was
that's it.
anatomically correct.
Yeah,
Anatomically
anatomically.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was
But it
just
was just
off.
bad.
It was bad. It was.
But anyway, Mom
Yeah.
and Henry run off, and then I think we cut to then we cut back to O'Shea and Crybaby, and they're walking through the woods.
Yeah. And they're
Yeah,
talking to Skinny Guy. He has some pretty good, I want to say he has some pretty good lines here, but I don't really remember
he
them too
does.
much.
Well, they're still the Crybaby's still trying to play 20 questions, and he keeps saying that O'Shea doesn't understand how to play it. And the crackhead's like, "What do you mean? It's the easiest game ever. What do you start big, you start broad, and then you narrow it down." And the Crybaby's like, "Yeah, you narrow it down, David. You start broad." And he's
No, I
like,
want to say in that scene, so the Skinny Guy was playing, and then they're like, okay, it's your turn. You go now. And he's like, and then he goes, says something like, is it an animal? And they're like, no. And then he goes,
"Well,
is it Bill Clinton? And they're like, you do it. You start broad, you go narrow, broad, narrow.
right. No. The question was, so the crackhead asked the question first. The crackhead looked at Crybaby and was like, "Is it smaller than a box?" And
Yeah.
Crybaby was like, "No, David has to ask the questions. You can't ask. You're not in this game. You can't ask the fucking questions." So then David is like, "Is it smaller than a box?" And he's like, "No." And then the next question is it like Thomas Jefferson or something? And they were both like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
You really like they're both flapping their arms and yelling.
They're so into this game. This random fucking crackhead they picked up is so
Yeah.
into this.
And I want to say
And
we also got a scene of the cop driving or something in here. He doesn't do too much in
he
his
doesn't. I
scenes, which
think
doesn't
yeah.
make them super memorable. But you
He's
do
like
see him at some point
he-
making his way to the park, or even coming when he arrived at the park. Something happened with him, but
well,
nothing.
he like there was a scene where he was driving and then he stopped on the side of the road at a payphone to call in and ask whoever is watching his dog to be like, "Hey, did you tell him goodbye for me? I don't know how dogs work. I don't know if that matters to
Yeah,
a dog, but tell him I said goodbye." And I was like, "What the fuck is your problem?"
so weird. It's so weird with the whole
Fuck.
dog situation.
But then they're walking across like this little rock path, the crackhead and guys are, and O'Shea steps into the water in his shoes and he's so upset.
So
He's
mad.
so upset. And then they start talking about lizards because the crackhead is saying that his mom was the best person ever and he lost his dad when he was younger, but then his mom got him a lizard, so he would just talk to this lizard and the lizard would just listen to him and it helped him figure out a lot of stuff. And the crybaby is like, "So you're saying I should get my son a lizard?" And he's like, he's super serious. He stops them as they're walking and he puts his hand on crybaby's shoulder and he's like, "Listen, animals are really good at listening, but humans are really good at hearing." And Crybaby is like, "That is the most profound thing I've ever heard in my fucking life.
His whole
I
soul was
I
touched
am
in that.
I feel so much better, and I'm gonna get my son a lizard." And I'm like, "What the fuck is happening in this fucking movie?"
Honestly, I feel like O'Shea's character is almost like the audience character, because his reactions are what we're all feeling. He's the one sitting there going, what reality is this? What is
Yeah.
happening?
How did I
As
get
we as an
saddled with
audience
this?
are being like, what? Like,
And then they make it to the, what did I call it? What do they call it? The thing. I
the
forgot the word.
gazebo.
The
But
gazebo.
no, before we get to the gazebo, we get the cabin situation.
Oh, you're right. See, I agree. This many
Right? See, when
cutscenes
it
back
jumps
and
this
forth
much,
is
it's really hard for me to keep up with. But I think this was probably my favorite scene of the movie, of the entire movie.
I think it was my second favorite. I think the lizard thing was my favorite because it's so fucking stupid. But this
Yeah.
one was top two.
So, well, okay. So of the action scenes, this is my favorite action scene.
Yeah.
So, Forest Ranger makes it back to her cabin, and when she gets there, the other cokeheads, the ones that weren't kidnapped, are in there robbing the joint. But she doesn't really notice that because she's frantic after getting attacked by a bear. So
Right.
she's just kind of like trying to find her more bullets, and they're just
she
kind of
comes
standing
in.
there like, hey.
She comes in and they're looking at her and they're like, "Oh my God, the guy, he got you too." And she's like, "Yeah, did he get you?" And she's talking about the bear. They're talking about O'Shea. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Call 911." They're like, "Oh, we already did. He already beat the shit out of us." That's when she starts like loading her gun and everything. And then she looks over and the fucking drawer to the cash register is out. And then she gets mad and she's like,
then she's like, "You motherfuckers were fucking robbing me." But that didn't last too long. She realizes the bear's there, and you see them, and she's like, "Shut the fucking door, shut the fucking door now."
Right.
But they don't. I want to say,
no, they shut the door.
oh, they
They
did.
still
Okay,
think it's a dude. They don't know it's a bear still.
That's
They
right.
still think it's a dude.
So they're like, "You're gonna shoot him?" And
Yeah,
she's
she
like,
gets in
"Okay,
front of the door.
when I count to 3, open the door." Or when I say, and they're like, so yeah, they think she's talking about the dude, and they're like, "Damn, you're just gonna shoot him like that? You can do that?" Like, so then they're like, "Okay." So she's like, "Go." He slings the door open. The bear's just sitting there, all like,
Right, but then the guy like steps into the middle of the door frame, and he's like, "It's a fucking bear,"
yeah,
and he is
he's
so
letting the bear go up,
confused.
and then bam,
Yeah, she doesn't
headshot,
aim. She
like,
just
and and it shows her behind his head, like. It's a very shocking moment because you're like, "What's the bear doing?" Oh shit, his eye's gone. Like,
yeah. And he just falls over, and then she yells at the other crackhead to close the door.
It was like they were like, we need a jump scare in here. Let's do this. Like, because you're gonna be like, oh, okay, all right. Like, and then yeah, so he's like, close the door. He falls over, and they're like, "You shot him." She's like, "Just close the fucking door." Like, and then you hear him on the roof.
She has to pick up his buddy's arm, his dead arm, and like move it out.
And he's just like,
and then yeah, you hear him on the roof, and I think this is when it cuts to the ambulance, or is it the gazebo?
Did we go straight to gazebo?
I don't fucking know anymore, dude.
I want
This
to
movie,
say
stop
maybe
doing
Officer did something. Officer at gazebo first.
Yeah, he gets there. I don't know why he went to the gazebo. That's never explained. How do you know to go?
Maybe it's just like one of the closest sites to the cabins where he pulled in at, and he just like
gazebo. He just started walking and happened upon this fucking gazebo.
So he gets lucky. He finds the gazebo, and at first he's just kind of walking around, and he's kind of like, nothing here. And he looks up and he sees red, so that he's trying to find a way to climb up. Excuse me. And then that's when they walk up to the gazebo.
Right.
And you don't see the cop at first. You're kind of like, where'd he
go?
Like, and so I want to say the one guy was being all like philosophical, still annoying them.
Yeah.
And they were like, he's like, just find the fucking code. So the guy walks in the gazebo. He walks back out. He's like, don't get mad.
Yeah, don't be upset with me.
He's like, I already am mad. So just fucking say it. He's like, it's not in there. It's not.
I don't know where it went.
And he's like, you're fucking dead now. He's like, okay, wait. Like, and the guy's like, we don't need to kill him. And so Crybaby's trying to stand up for him because he doesn't want to kill people. And O'Shea just fucking done with all of this. He's so
his shoes are ruined. He's still hungry.
Yeah. And he's yelling at them at this point. And then the cop shows up holding the Coke bag on the
On
roof,
top of the gazebo.
gun out at them. And he's like, hands up, you know, step back. So then they're all like this. And then, but he won't, like, he won't put his gun down.
Yeah, they had like a standoff. He's pointing at
Yeah.
the sheriff guy, and then Crybaby has his hands like normally up, but then the crackhead has his hands like I don't know why that makes me laugh so hard, but just seeing him standing there with his little shirt that's too short, and he's like,
And then, so O'Shea, there's a gun in front of him. He goes to grab the gun, and the cop shoots
down.
his hand.
Yeah, he puts his gun down, and he's like, all right. And the sheriff's like, nobody move. And then idiot, he tries to grab the gun with his left hand, and he shoots these 2 fingers off.
Yeah. So he gets it, he's like, oh, my fingers. But
and everybody's like, how did you do that?
Yeah. He ends up running like towards the gazebo so the cop can't see him anymore.
Right.
And he still has a gun. And he's like, the one guy's like, don't move and stuff. And he's like, hey, Crybaby, get my fingers. And he looks up at the cop, he's like, can I get his fingers? And the cop's like, yeah, all right, get his fingers, but then stand up and get back and just lay down. So he's
the crackhead is still like this.
He's like just grabbing the finger. He's like, I'm just gonna keep him in my pocket. And he's like, thanks. So then they're in a standoff of like, he's like, come out, I'm gonna shoot them. He's like, no, I'm not coming out.
And crackhead is freaking out because he does not want to be shot today.
Yeah. He's like, no. And then, so then the bear shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And the bear doesn't see any of them. So, yet. Because it's like on the gazebo has solid walls on some of it.
Yeah, it has like 2 solid walls.
Yeah.
And then the rest are open. Yeah.
So O'Shea's hiding behind a solid wall the bear can't see because he's coming in from a direction. The one's on the roof, so he doesn't see them. And he just hasn't gotten close enough to see the other guys because they were kind of standing off to the side. But they're like, shit, what do we do? And he's like, just get down, play dead. And he's like, keeps hiding behind the wall, and he's just trying to walk around so that he never gets in bear's sight. And then the other guys keep face down, and the bear's sniffing on them and kind of walks over Crybaby, and you think, okay, maybe he's safe. But then the bear comes back, and I thought Crybaby was about to get fucked in the ass.
I did too. I thought they
really thought this was where he was going. Oh, I thought for sure. I was like, Crybaby's about to get so fucking violated, but he doesn't. The bear falls on top of him
and just passes out.
The fuck out. And then I was like, oh shit, Crybaby's gonna suffocate. But then I was saying, he's like, get me out of here. And they're like, can you breathe? He's like, yeah, I can breathe. Yeah, I can breathe.
Yeah, but then he's still going, what the fuck? Like underneath. Yeah, what the fuck? And then they're like, is it dead? And he's like, I don't know. And then the crackhead asks him, can you feel it breathing? And he's like, he gets silent for a second and he goes, I don't know.
This is so ridiculous.
And then O'Shea is like, hey, can I just check if the bear is alive? And the sheriff is like, yeah, all right. See if it's alive.
Yeah. So then he goes, he's trying to like test, and then
the bear wakes up.
Bear wakes up.
And
the bear doesn't have any Coke, so she's not totally crazy.
She wakes up, and Crybaby and the crackhead stand up, and then she starts acting weird as fuck. She starts like patting her paws all over Crybaby, and then she puts his hand. They like start like slow dancing.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's like she's trying to climb him like he's an actual like tree, like trying to like climb it up. And they're like, lay down, just leave her alone, like play dead. And he's like, I can't get any smaller. And then I don't know what made. Oh, that's when she finds a brick that's just like laying on the floor in front of all of them, and she throws it up into her mouth and she swallows the
Oh
entire
yeah.
brick. She doesn't bite into it, she just swallows it, and then suddenly she's fucking high. And I think
Yeah.
that's when she starts like patting on him and stuff. She gets blown out of her mind, and then she like confuses him for something else. And that's when they realized, because the sheriff was like, they start freaking out at first, like, oh shit, the bear's eating cocaine, and the sheriff was like, oh, let's just see what happens. Let's just what could happen? We don't how I don't know how this is gonna react. Let's see what happens. And then after that, she starts getting a little bit more aggressive. I think because she's already like processed a lot of it. I don't know how. This doesn't make any sense scientifically because bricks are covered in, if it's not open, it's covered in so much stuff. There's no way it would have like dissolved or even gotten to her stomach that quickly. But either way, he realizes, oh shit, she's gonna need more cocaine. She's gonna start getting aggressive. So then he takes a brick and puts it in his mouth and rips off the top of a brick, and then just starts like pouring it.
Yeah,
Like,
the sheriff
"Hey!"
on the roof. He's
Yeah, the
trying to
sheriff on the
distract.
roof.
He's throwing it off the side. And he's like, "Y'all run!" And then
Yep.
cut to now. This is my favorite action scene. I combined them in my head, but so we're back at the cabin, and if we recall, they said they had already called 911.
Right.
These are the EMTs showing up,
Right.
and they're just chit chatting, walking up to the cabin. And you're like, okay, and they try to push in the door, and they can't because there's a dead body there, and so the guy's like, oh, I can't open it, and the girl's like, let me do it, and then they have this. He's like, oh, you gonna do it? You gonna do it?
Yeah.
Like, do it. Yeah, good. Oh, is it not? Can you not do it? And she's like, shut up. Get over here and help me. He's like, does this mean you're not a feminist anymore? Like, you need help? So they're pushing the door, and they finally get in there, and they're like, oh shit. Like, because both crackheads they're dead.
Well, they see the first crackhead that was in there, that was in front of the door.
Yeah.
And then like the lady goes around and she sees the forest lady, and the forest lady like can't speak.
Yeah,
She's like
she's
too quiet.
very injured, like holding wounds.
Yeah. So she's trying to tell them there's a bear, but she can't hear it. And then the other dude, while the lady paramedic is tending to her, the other guy is like looking around like, what the fuck? And he starts to walk towards like there's like a closet door or something, and he starts to walk towards it, and he opens it, and then he sees a totally decapitated other crackhead in
Yeah.
there. And as the lady paramedic is trying to get like her pulse, she picks up the stethoscope and brings it up to her mouth and is like, and the lady's like, oh shit. And that's when you see the bear is hiding in the shadows.
Yeah. And the weird broom closet situation. And then the bear jumps out. And
it's the door.
As the guy was trying to slam the door shut, the bear breaks the door. So he's like this under the door with the bear over him, just slobbing in his face. Was disgusting. I hate spit.
Me
I hate
too.
drool. It will ruin a movie for me. It lost major points because of this. But anyway, so the lady EMT is trying to get, she's grabbing the officer, and she's like, let's get the fuck out of here. And she's like, so this part made me a little I was like, what the fuck are you doing right now? Jumps in the back of the van, does not close the doors, doesn't do it.
Yeah, she straps the lady to the bed.
And then takes the time to strap the patient in. Like, we have fucking time for that. Close the door, get your ass in the driver's seat, and drive. What are we doing right now? And then, so she gets in the driver's seat. She's about to drive away, and the officer's like, but the guy.
And he honestly, like comes running out. I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't remember what he did to get up out of the door, but he did something that like shocked the bear enough to run. And he gets to the truck, and he's like, ah! And then you see the bear running, and this bear's got fucking speed. Like, cocaine is a hell of a drug, apparently, because it's making this bear fucking super bear. And she's like, well, close the doors. And he's like trying, but they're all over the place. And the bear goes to jump in. It's like, dun, dun, dun.
Slow mo.
into the truck, onto the guy. It causes the officer to bump out, and you see her face plant and drag the blood and road rash. Well done.
Yeah,
I was
that I
like,
was.
yeah. And then the bear's eating him. He ends up like sliding up into the middle where she's driving, and she's like,
And then she runs
and
into a fucking tree.
yeah, it causes her to fly into a tree. So you see the truck make impact, and she falls, and then boom, right in front of the camera, her just
Yeah, she flies
dead.
through the windshield.
Yeah.
She didn't have her seatbelt on.
You took the time to buckle her in, but not yourself. This is what happens. And then you just see in the background, because it's close up on her, and in the background you see the burning van, and then Cocaine Bear just kind of like stumble out and make his way back into the forest. Like, my job here is done. Like, and then we're back at Gazebo. And I forget what they're doing. I think they're even about to just like walk away or leave, and cop gets shot in the stomach, and they're like, what the fuck? And it's Ray Liotta. He's come to handle business. They were taking too fucking long, and they're like, you didn't have to fucking shoot him. And he's like, oh, my partner's here, because he sees the girl cop, and bum bum bum, she's a fucking traitor. She's on Ray Liotta's side, damn it. And he's like, how could you? Where's my dog? But he says her name. I'm gonna call her Trixie. I don't think it was Trixie, but we'll say, oh, where's Trixie? And Ray Liotta's like, what the fuck is a Trixie? And she's like, it's his dog. She's in the car. And he's like, Ray Liotta goes, you kept a dog in the car? And they're like, you shot someone? Like, oh no. The crybaby's like, where's my son? And he's like, he's back at the house watching TV. And a whole nother, they're from another state, guys.
They're from like Illinois or something.
Yeah, and they're in Georgia. And according to Ray, he's just at home watching TV. Don't fucking worry about it. Like,
yeah, smart move leaving your kid with that guy while you had your little breakdown.
When he made the judgy face of, you leave a dog in a hot car? And he was like, you left my son alone. And he's like, nah, not the same thing. It's not the same thing. He's fine. So he's like, this is where you find out, because the crybaby is like, just leave it. Fucking leave it. We're done. The bear killed a bunch of people. Like, let's just fucking go. Let's cut our losses. And you find out Ray's like, we can't cut our losses. Okay? The fucking cartel's gonna kill us all. We gotta find this fucking coat. It's not a joke. I will kill all of you. We're finding this coat. And then, so the cop is like up there dying anyways. And he just kind of like, you know what? A coke fueled bear is out there, and y'all want to go fucking dance with this? Go for it. He goes, due north, just as he's dying. He's like, just go north. He went that way. And so they all walk away, and then he does the worst. It's like close up. He's just like, and I know they made him do that. You can just tell, because somebody was behind the camera going, hold it, and
die. Stupid.
So then at this point, I want to say we jump to Mom and Henry still running through the woods, and
trying to find the girl.
Yeah, they have found little clues, like crushed paints and stuff. And the mom's like, she left a path. That's my genius girl. And her and Henry start following the path, and they find Olaf. He wasn't dead. He's just been hiding in the woods crying. And they're like, have you seen a little girl? And he's like, yeah, I've seen a little girl, but you can't go that way. You're gonna fucking die. Don't go over there. And she's like, no, that's my fucking daughter. We're going, so come on. And so then Olaf's just like, yeah, all right. Like, okay. And then it cuts to little girl in the cave, crying. So you're like, okay, so she is alive. Cool. And then, because we never see the camp guys again, they're gone.
You know, everybody's dead.
Yeah. Dang cop's dead. So then it kind of pretty much stays with mom at that point. You see her, she finds the cave, so you're like, okay, she knows where the little girl is. And then you find the baby cubs. There are baby cubs, and they're actually pretty cute. It's still bad CGI, but they pull off cuteness pretty well. And they're dancing in Coke, because there's just a pile of Coke in the cave where the bear's just been collecting all the Coke. Then the daughter runs out and she's like, Mom. And this is the point where I'd be like, cool, now we need to book it that way. But no, not them. They want to stand and have fucking conversations about fucking, I don't care that you have a boyfriend and stuff. And it's just like, not the time. It's not the time.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
But they're too late. Bear's outside. Olaf, done for. So they book it to the other side of the cave where they come out and it's the waterfall. And the mom even goes, oh, we made it to the waterfall. And they run out on the cliff of the waterfall, and like the daughter's looking down. She's like, get away from the side. But it is a dead end. So they're like, shit, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then, so you think it's the bear coming in, but the very next scene is Ray Liotta and his crew coming in. And they see the baby cubs, but they're like, the cubs aren't doing anything to anybody. So they're like, okay. So then they come out to the other side and they don't see the mom because she's hiding behind a wall, but they do see up above them a bag of Coke. So he's like, all right, let's go, let's get the Coke. And they're trying to like climb up each other to reach the Coke, but they can't reach it. And then the mom accidentally, I won't even say accidentally, she goes, we got to get out of here. And I'm like, you were already standing there, just stay there. She is just like, we gotta go. So she pops out and immediately guns in her face, like, no, you're gonna die now. Like, but luckily Mama Coke Bear is home, so she jumps down and mom and kids are immediately like, we out this piece. Like, they go to jump off. They're just, I'm gonna take my chances with a fucking waterfall. But they, when the mom bear jumps down, Ray Liotta shoots the gun, and he shoots the one guy in the neck.
The crackhead guy?
Ice Cube Jr.
Oh, O'Shea, yeah.
Yeah. In the neck. But he also gets Mama Bear, and she hits the ground, and you're like, oh shit, Mom, she's done for. Bear's dead. He's gonna get his Coke and he's gonna leave. But no, because O'Shea was shot and he like pivoted, some Coke had fallen off of him and landed on Mama Bear's nose. It was resurrection. She was back up. She was like, ah! And flew up the side of the mountain and just started going at him. So then O'Shea and Crybaby are like, and we're out of here. They jump off the cliff, leaving Ray Liotta hanging from the Coke bag by his neck, being pinataed by the baby bears and the mama bear, and he's done for. So they're all swimming away. O'Shea's been shot. Mom's a nurse, so she's helping him. And then it cuts to, it's now daytime. All the mountain stuff was at nighttime. So it's now daytime, and mom and kids are walking up, and they see a road rash lady, and Henry's like, I want to look, but I don't want to look. And the mom's like, don't look. Don't look. And he's like, I'm gonna look at it. They're just walking away, and the daughter's like, I don't mind meeting your boyfriend. And she's like, it's all right, we don't need to meet him. Like, and then it cuts to you see the Crybaby and O'Shea in a car, and the cop lady comes over and she's like, here, take fucking Trixie the dog, I don't want her. And she leaves, and Crybaby is finally, he's not crying anymore, and he looks at Trixie, he's like, you're my missing piece. And he puts her in the car, and O'Shea just like, what the fuck is that? And he's like, it doesn't play fetch. And all right, impromptu break over. So everyone walks into the sunset. Then you get the words on the screen that talk about how the cocaine was never found, fully found, all of it. So somewhere out there could still be a shit ton of cocaine. And then it shows the bear with her cubs. And then they look into the camera and it gives you a feeling of there could be a sequel. And then and then it goes to some credits. And then you do get an after credit scene of tweaker guy, skinny cokehead, he's hitchhiking out of there. It was his dream to move to New York with his homies, but they're dead now. So he's going to New York on his own. And he has a coke bag with him and he throws it in the back, and there's sheep in the back of the truck, and he gets in the truck, and then the truck suddenly stops and he jumps out and he grabs the bag and he's looking at the sheep like, bastards. And then he like gets into the truck and then it drives off. And then that's it. That's the whole movie.
Yep.
So I will say, I watched this by myself. And when I was watching it by myself, I was so excited for this movie. Like I think I said. So I was a little bit disappointed. It wasn't as funny as I thought it would be. But after talking with it with a friend, I'm more like, just watch it with a buddy and you guys will laugh so much more at the ridiculousness that's.
Yeah.
But yes, if you're by yourself, I didn't get as many chuckles as I thought I would get out of it.
See, and then I'm the exact opposite. My expectations were literally on the floor, and I couldn't believe how much I laughed at it, because I was just like, I was by myself too. I was upstairs by myself, laughing to myself every single time something happened, because I was like, what the fuck?
This also there might also be because you might have to partake in some things to really.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah.
You could probably get some more chuckles out of it.
Yeah.
But I give it a solid 7 out of 10. Like, it's a good time.
It's better than Morbius. It's better than Morbius. That's my litmus test. Is like, is it better than Morbius? Okay, then it's a decent movie. It's a good time. Yeah,
it's a good time. Especially, I don't know how I probably would say I would have saw it in theaters. I didn't get a chance to. I'm really glad it was on Peacock for me to be able to watch it. But I think it was theater worthy. I probably would have had a good time in theaters.
See, I do disagree with that. We go to the movies like almost every, like I literally just got back from the movies before we started recording it. That was one that we skipped. B was like, I'm not fucking watching that. But when it first came out, we went and saw something at the movies that same weekend, and I don't remember what we were watching, but as we were leaving our movies, Cocaine Bear came out, and I remember there was like this middle-aged like mom and like a dad, and then like a mostly adult child. And I remember the mom going, she said something like, well, that movie is it's just not what I expected. And I was like, what the fuck did you expect out of Cocaine Bear?
Yeah.
That you're so disappointed in it. What?
Right. I hope, if you're saying that, I hope it's coming from a place of like, I thought there'd be more gore. Though I think this movie had the perfect amount of gore. It was.
I don't think that's what she was saying.
She definitely would be like, there's blood, there's guts, like.
Yeah, it's got body. There's some body horror. Yeah. Like there's some. Yeah.
So that is weird. That does make me feel like, what were your expectations?
That's what I'm saying. What were you wanting? What were you wanting out of Cocaine Bear that it did not provide you based off of the fucking trailers? I feel like
Cocaine Bear, it did its job. It's a fun watch.
It's gonna become a cult classic.
Be something that. Maybe in a couple years when my kid's really starting to get into horror and I'm willing to jump up a level, that I'd be like, yeah, you can watch this with me. You know, like
it's gonna turn into one of those cult classic movies.
Yeah,
that people are gonna be like, bro, you've never seen Cocaine? But I can just see like a smoke circle in like college 10 years from now. You never seen Cocaine?
Right.
That's how it's gonna be.
Oh, you gotta watch Cocaine Bear, man.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. This bear does cocaine. I can see it. The whole scene, 100%.
So, now that we went over this, I think potentially cult classic, let's go over the true story of the Cocaine Bear. So, picture it, 1985. it wasn't, the bear in this movie is supposed to be like a 200-pounder. The actual bear is only a 175-pound bear, but I'm pretty sure
pretty
unless you're like a
normal.
bear expert, most of us are just going, it's a fucking bear.
Yeah, it's
So,
pretty normal. It's a normal range for bears.
and unfortunately, so the meat of this movie, you're following this bear's rampage, while actual Cocaine Bear got into 3 to 4 grams or more of a shit ton of cocaine, and his brain immediately melted. He didn't, like, literally, he died on seizures on sight. It was not, he had
OD'd.
no good times. None.
OD'd immediately.
OD'd immediately. It was, he just died. Like, so all of that is complete fantasy, but all the beginning, guy dancing in the airplane, parachute man, spot on, baby. Like,
I am
that
not
is apparently what the fuck happened. That his name was Andrew Thornton. He was a convicted smuggler. So when they saw him, they were kind of like, this is what probably happened, is he was smuggling. His plane was probably going down because it was too heavy. So he was dropping loads like you're supposed to, and he was going to parachute out. So in the movie, he bumps his head and falls out. I didn't find any corroborating that, just that he crashed because he was carrying too much on him personally. He carried too much coke, and it caused him to hit the ground a lot harder than the parachute could help with. So he did die. He died that day. So when the cops found him, they were like, there's probably a shit ton of coke out here because he's a fucking smuggler. And they found the airplane too. And he had a key that matched the tail they found on the airplane, like the symbols on it. And they found like a shit ton of coke. And in looking for that coke, they found a bear laying in the middle of 40 boxes, emptied. They only knew cocaine was in there because of trace cocaine. Like, and then the dead bear. So actual Cocaine Bear did not get a great send off. And I did find the snippet. Now, this was in the New York Times, and it even says in the New York Times that it wasn't, they could not corroborate the story. So, but apparently, Cocaine Bear was taken and stuffed, and apparently owned by a country singer, Waylon Jennings, for some years. And then he apparently...
The way you said that name just then, you don't know who Waylon Jennings is?
Vaguely. I know he's a country singer. I probably don't know any of his songs.
Oh, like... Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry,
but yeah, that he would have done that. Yeah.
So 100%. Then apparently when he was done with it, though, he donated it to a Kentucky mall. So apparently Cocaine Bear is on display at a mall in Kentucky now. But not in the way of like, this is the bear that died of cocaine, just that it's a stuffed animal that just lives in a mall that just happens to be the bear that died of cocaine overdose. Allegedly. This is all allegedly.
I'm gonna have to find this fucking bear next time I go home. I need to know how far away from Tennessee this bear is, and then me and my sister are going on a road trip. Like, we're gonna go find this fucking bear.
So yeah, so that's the true story of...
I'm not surprised. There's no way that an animal who has never had a drug in their life could just and live and
survive that.
There's no way.
Yeah. So, but I will say, I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? Of all the movies we've done that actually have, I mean, technically a true crime angle to it, this is the best one, because it has no true characters in it at all, other than the smuggler guy. And hey, that's what fucking happened. Okay.
Yeah.
They kept it on spot. Okay. Other than maybe he didn't bump his head, but you know.
It was definitely the most interesting one, I think.
Yeah.
Well, when I say, I don't mean like intellectually interesting, but I just mean like it was the most fun watch that we've done. I think of all the movies that we've done.
Yeah, I think so.
Far.
I think so for sure. Like, and no guilt after it either. I can be like, I had fun and I feel good about it.
Yeah, like there's nothing. It's just ridiculous.
Because I
And
was a little worried. A little part of me was like, please, God, don't let me enjoy this movie. And then go look up and like the kid really did die. Bear killed 5
Right,
children, you know?
right. It was like
Like,
there was like a Boy Scout troop camping in the woods.
yeah,
And it just like,
exactly. And then I had to be like,
God
why
damn
did we
it.
make a movie about this? But luckily, that's not the case. All deaths in this movie are completely fictional, and we can laugh about them with no shame. So that is our story. We will see you guys next week. It probably won't be as uplifting.
No,
Funny.
it's just gonna be a one-off. Okay.